Hi, Minky. My name is Singh. How are you doing today?
Doing fantastic, thanks.
Great. Tell me what you're working on.
So I'm sure that you know about the increase in homelessness, suicide, opioid addictions, things like that in our society today. Mercurio helps government agencies identify and address situations efficiently before people fall through the cracks and become tragedies. We are a social benefit organization focusing on business process improvement in the government and public sector by leveraging real-time data, AI, and machine learning to achieve optimized results for the benefit of our communities. We provide our clients with the tools, strategies, and environment required to develop cross-departmental targeted programs and match service recipients with those programs, enabling them to thrive. Our
Understood.
platform is scalable to accommodate not only the largest cities, but also the very small ones, faster, cheaper, and more robustly, meaning that now small and mid-sized cities have access to the same features and functionalities that previously only large cities could afford. There are several organizations out there that provide the technology and years of professional services to meet the core data management needs of cities. Where we differ is in our team with over 20 years of experience in technology, behavioral health, and government, methodology, our offering, and the implementation timeline.
Got it. Got it. Thank you very much. And what do you need help with? Mickey, tell me what you need help.
So we're looking to raise $1.4 million to really launch our product. We are hiring a sales team and really working with MSPs. And as you know, government is one of the most difficult industries to break into. So really going out to those city manager shows and sponsoring events and really just getting really top-notch salespeople to come in and work and then develop our product even further. So we've already done a prototype in Philadelphia. And the CIO, when he retired, actually came on board as our board of advisor. Okay. And so we have a global, yes.
Great. Excellent. So Mickey, thank you for that. And let's give you some feedback if we may. In the comments, feel free to write any feedback. We do share this with our audience, and it's always great to get feedback from the crowd. The collective wisdom is always powerful. When I think about what you're working on, again, this is a social, you talked about a social benefit organization. Some people might call it, the social enterprise, right? A social entrepreneurship activation. I think that, it breaks everyone's heart when you look at North America and you hear about the opioid crisis. And you look at the fentanyl, you see all of the challenges that are happening there. And a lot of these things in 2022, it is still something that is an afterthought. Okay. So when you were talking, the way I look at this, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm putting myself in your shoes, but also in terms of what I think the world needs, starting in the most developed country on the planet, which is the United States, is that instead of waiting for the statistic to come in that over the last 5 years, 500,000 or 100,000 people have died because of opioid addiction and fentanyl overdose, right? There should be a way for a government, a city government, to predict these problems and be able to act a little bit faster. Does that make sense?
Yes, right? Exactly.
Right. And that's kind of, because when you were pitching, your pitch kind of went from, you explained it, and then I was thinking we were going to go into the implementation, and then we went back to deeper implementation, which is interesting. But for me, I wanted to understand, what the first one was, how big of a problem is this, right? And I felt we could hammer, the opioid problem. The fentanyl problem. What are the numbers? Just share with us, just so the audience and everyone knows how big of a problem is this when you think about problems with opioids and fentanyl overdose and all the other components, like stuff that you might be able to help with? Can you just share some numbers so the audience knows?
It's no. Right
Okay.
now, no.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Is it 100? Like, I remember reading this. You don't need to give exact numbers, but this is like, is it true that opioids and all these problems kill over 100,000 people, over 50,000 people in the United States? I mean, it's a large number, correct?
It's over 100,000 people.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's all I need to know, right? I didn't want to put you on the spot, but you get my point. It's a real problem, right?
Right.
You know, and the idea that governments today cannot predict and leverage their cross-department capabilities to jump on solutions and solve problems before they get out of hand is kind of a travesty. Is that correct?
Right, because they're operating in silos. They're not talking to each other. So the suicide department is not talking to the behavioral health and mental health department, who are not talking to the court systems. So you have a suicidal person receiving mental health services who's now been ordered to have a psychiatric eval for being mentally unstable, and then they have a 30-day window after they're released to purchase a gun legally. Imagine what that's a nightmare. That's everyone's nightmare.
Yes. And so the point is that with your platform, you are able to kind of become that intelligent layer for governments, you know, for cities, because I think it's a city related issue. This isn't a federal problem. Well, it's a federal and state problem, but it's usually tackled at the city level. And what you're able to do is you're able to leverage all these components to help in the prevention, better communication, lower the numbers, as well as, I'm assuming, if you're doing your process right, you also lower the cost of care, right? So all of these programs, if they're speaking together, they're probably saving money. Is that correct?
Exactly, because if they don't talk to each other, the person stays in limbo. Whereas when they do communicate, this person is now integrated back into society. And the thing is we're flipping it from being a service-centric view to a holistic individual view. So we're looking at the individual. What is it going to take to help that individual, rather than how many services did we actually deliver?
Yes.
And measuring that, right? Measuring how many people are getting better and how much of each tax dollar is being spent.
And how much do you think a city would save? Just, you know,
what do you think? We were doing testing, when we just did testing in the prototype, within 1 quarter, for 3 departments, we recovered $84,000.
Okay.
And
so
that was just 1 quarter.
It's substantial.
Right. It is substantial. So you can decrease the cost. You can, there are so many ways. What a homeless person, to house them for food stamps and things like that, costs approximately $87,000, just minimum, bare minimum. Okay. $87,000, I can hire somebody to take care of that person.
Wow. I didn't know that. That's an interesting statistic. So you're looking for $1.4 million. What are we going to use that money for? Minky, tell me.
We're using it to really hire salespeople, because the ramp up time for government is, on the average, is 18 to 24 months.
Yeah, sales cycles with governments suck.
They do. And what we've done is we've actually shortened that sales cycle by, we want to connect with managed service providers who already have that relationship with government agencies, really going after RFPs. And we've won the contract for Arizona, the state of Arizona, for the data management contract. So we've really shortened that cycle.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Let me try. Minky, would you like me to pitch your idea back to you?
I would love it.
Okay. Yes. So I'm going to try to do this. This is pitch. This is my 6th pitch of today. So this is going to be fun. Hopefully I'm warming up, guys. I hope I don't lose steam, because we still have other people coming on board. So Minky, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pitch Mercurio. Am I pronouncing it right? Am I
Mercurio.
Mercurio? Yeah, I'm saying it right. Okay, so Mercurio. I'm going to pitch your idea based on what we just spoke about. Okay, I'm going to try to structure some of the touch points based on what we're talking about and how we are going to make city services, okay, for the at-risk smarter. Is that right? Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right. So I'm going to try and pull that in. Now, you get to be a rich investor person. So you get to have fun. And I don't know who's rich in Phoenix right now, but you can be whoever you want. You know, this is the fun part of it. You get to role play. I'm hitting the top of the elevator. You need to introduce yourself and I will pitch your idea to you.
Awesome. Can I go now?
Yes, over to you.
Hi, this is Minky from Mercurio Analytics. We are we just won the Mega Millions jackpot lottery.
Okay, fantastic. Great to know that you have generated so much money. My name is Singh, and I'm also from the Mercurio team. Coincidentally, we have the same name. But I want to talk to you about something that's near and dear to my heart. As you know, you've heard about the opioid crisis. You've heard about fentanyl overdose, and it breaks my heart every year when you read about 50 to 100,000 Americans suffering with overdoses, suicide, and all the negativity that comes with this. And after having a great corporate career, I decided that I'm going to do something about this. And so we founded our company, Mercurio. And what we do actually is we've taken time to rethink how cities operate in terms of their services. And we've discovered that every city actually works in silos. There's different departments. And because they're not communicating with each other, because there is no data to create preemptive measures for them to predict problems in certain areas, there's a high level of inefficiency. And that is one of the root causes to the 50 to 100,000 people that are dying in America today. And so we've created a smart layer that's going to help cities and towns understand the data of the people in their vicinity, and it's going to allow communication with different departments, from the suicide to the mental health unit to the courts, to make sure that they provide individual care, not siloed care. Right? And that's going to have huge improvements on the ground. And we feel that if we can get this going in some pilot locations, we've tested it out in Philadelphia. We need around $1.4 million to get it going in a couple of other markets. That is going to be the on the ground change that's going to make sure that in 5 years from now, this conversation about opioid death is a thing of the past. I'd like to chat to you a little bit more about what we're doing, and we hope that we can make some real change. Thank you.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
So that's kind of how I would, you know what I mean? I tried to bring in the topical points about how you are smart, how your data is coming in, how you are going to create more efficiencies. I didn't bring in the budget thing because that's another thing too. Oh, and by the way, the government saved money, but I didn't feel it was tasteful. Does that make sense? It's not, you know, if we just do this right, let's use the extra money that we're saving to do better services. Do you get what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I know that for a lot of the other people, I'm like, show me the money and the percentages, but for a social enterprise like this, I think that the monies that saved should go directly to you to grow. Do you get what I'm saying? You know, so I was very specific in not bringing that up in my pitch, okay? Because I think that what you're trying to do in terms of how you're structuring your model should be a value proposition enough, and it's a much more tangible impact investor play. And we need to work around that. So that's my view around it, right? Hopefully you found some value. There was a couple of sound bites as well, Minky, for you to use. And feel free to copy anything you liked. You know what I mean? Like these pitches kind of just come into my head and they leave very quickly too. So if you ask me to do that again, I couldn't do it. And that's why we are recording this, because it'll never come back. And my hope is that in our conversation today, Minky, you've been able to have a sounding board in terms of how you're positioning what you're doing, because the world needs your product. Okay. The world needs your product. And we always want to make sure that if you're presenting it, it comes across and you're touching on all of those pain points, because I believe that startups like yourself need as much attention and resource. So whoever's watching this, listening to this, feel free to look. We'll make sure that we share your website and your details. If there's any way that, we can help, and the audience can help, we want to make sure that we help you, Minky. So thank you very much for joining, and congratulations on your work. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.